that Peter, Caro just did, and Audrey was able to jump in there. And now we want to be able to do kind of an interacting with both of them. And so I've got Peter, Caro, and Audrey in the house with us today. And Peter, some of the questions that I have is that you took some action many years ago when you first got married to go and study with Steve Gibson. That was a huge leap of faith. You didn't have any money, you were broke, and you did whatever it took to get into that class. I mean, the story that I kind of heard was is that there wasn't room because they only had room for 25 people there, and there was no room, and but you made it happen. Said that I'll do whatever it takes to get in that class, even if I have to sleep on the floor. Of course, that's kind of what happened. So tell us a little bit about what it was that made you make that decision that I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this work.
Yeah, because I am very persistent to do that because I have no choice. So life is very terrible, and um, when I see my children growing, I'm thinking that um, how could I how could I do this to to grow my children? I have no work. I have no proper education. So the only thing that I think is that to learn, to learn how to do business, because nobody will hire me because I'm only a junior high school. So it's a years of competition if you are looking for a job. So I have no choice. So and then when I heard about that, I'm so eager to learn because that's the only way that I think that will improve our lives, our future. So I mean, no matter how hard it is, when I first approached Steve, when I called him, Steve, I'm very interested, and then he said, I'm sorry, Peter, because I got on already 25 students, and you are number 26. And then I persistently uh, um, uh, um, I persistently uh, approached to Steve that I'm really interested to attend his training because we are very poor. And then Steve said, oh, wait a minute, I will call you after 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, he called me again. And then he said, well, Peter, I have one question. And I said, yes, what's that? And then he said, are you willing to sleep in the floor? And then I said, yes, and maybe your floor is better than my pig house.
Mhm.
so, so, so that's how I started academy. And then when I went there, I'm shocked because all my classmates were all professional and I'm not. So I'm not good in English anyway. And then, uh, but I understand and I learned so much because I go there in an empty fat, and then I learn a lot from Steve. And then when I go back, I apply all of that what I have learned in the academy. So um, we after 6 months of training, after 6 months from the academy, we're able to start our own uh, business, and then well, become successful using the things that I have learned from the academy. So that's awesome, Steve.
Yeah, and I was going to mention you did have a choice. You didn't have to take action. You could have just stayed where you were at. It wasn't a very good life, but you could have just stayed there. But you wanted a better life for your family and a better life for your grandkids. So you had to take action. You didn't really have any other options. You had to make it work, and you were willing to do whatever it took to get
Yeah.
into that class and doing whatever it took, even if it meant sleeping on the floor, whatever it took, you were going to make it work. And so now, as I look at Audrey down there, and I know that you've got grandchildren, they are living a better life because what you did.
Yes, that's
They're
right.
living a better life. And the one thing I know for sure um, is that families want to have a better life for their kids. My parents wanted my siblings to have a better life. And that's why we do what we do. So that's pretty amazing. What are some of the things that you learned from the Academy of Creative Enterprise?
Well, a lot. We learn how to do. Actually, the principle that the academy taught us give us courage and be persistent in all things. We learn about focus. We learn about how to grow the business and then how to expand the business. So, I think it's all in package for me. So, um, we're so thankful for Steve for mentoring us and in doing so. Yeah.
I think one of the things that was probably the biggest byproduct was the belief that you could make it work.
Yeah.
Not so much the strategies, but hey, I can make this work and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it work. And it doesn't matter if I fail because I'm getting closer to success by just having that determination. Would you agree
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah, that's right, Tom.
Audrey,
With
do you have any questions? Do you have any questions for your dad about the early days that our students might like to hear?
I've actually never thought of anything. Um, but there's a lot of questions on the chat right now, I guess. So we could maybe ask. I think these people are eager to hear what your response is, Pa. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
Is it
okay
okay,
with you
if
if Peter
Peter
can
can
also
also
do
do
it
it
in
in
Tagalog?
Tagalog?
Sure, whatever you like to do there, Josh.
Okay.
Okay, so the first question is from Angie Agawin. She said, Sir Peter, where did you turn for help to sell your business for franchise?
yeah, actually, our business is ready for franchising
Okay.
because I learned that franchising business from the academy, and I thought that everyone want to learn or want to start the business, but it's hard for them to start the business. So if you franchise, it's so easy to start your business because it's already have the system. So I think it would help.
Yeah,
Awesome.
a lot of people that do franchising, they've got the system already figured out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the key to it. So that's a good one. We got a couple more questions here too. It looks like we got one from Daryl. For those people who are starting their career, might be a business or a job, and you're probably going to do both. You're probably going to have a job, and you're going to probably start with a small business until your business becomes a bigger business, and then that is your job. Um, Daryl's question is, what advice would you give them if they are experiencing difficulties and disappointments and failures?
Well, um, I don't know, but if you are experiencing, I think you have to go back to the basic. I think so because as I have learned in the business, I say that it's not so easy, but if you um experiencing difficulties in business, I think you do something wrong. So I think you have to go back to the basic principle of the business. Yeah, that's what we learned from Steve. He said hands on, and then instead of doing very sophisticated um, um, idea, okay, you go to the basic. It's a manual principles so that you can start all over again. So like for us, it's not so easy because like what happened to our business, COVID-19 struck our business. So we go back to the ground zero because our business is airline industry and nobody ride in the plane. So and then we have a lot of rentals and our people to it's a lot of expenses, but doing things I remember what Steve Gibson told us. Okay, you go back to the basic. So I go back to the basic once again, and then okay. So I think we need to close all our stores in the mall, and then we will start all over again in our humble store. So that's what we did. And then by doing that, I'm thinking of doing innovation. So I think if we get lost in our business, we have to think that maybe our business is something obsolete. So we have to innovate it. So you find sometimes in there's an opportunity in a problem. So turn the problem into an opportunity. So if there is a problem, there's always an opportunity.
Great. We got another question here from Amelia. It says, what is your success formula? Is there such thing as a formula that you use for your life? Is there a success formula?
Well, my formula is if you want to get rich, you have to resign from being poor. So sometimes we have poor idea, so we have to change it into a better idea. So what I mean is that you have to learn and relearn, like what I'm doing. I always learn every day. So we don't rely in our previous learning, but in during your business, uh, you can see something different. So you have to learn and relearn. And sometimes, if you don't follow the steps of being successful, sometimes we pay a lot of tuition fee. We call that tuition fee. so, so maybe, and then I have seen a lot of losses or in the business is that some people, when their business grow, they keep on shopping. They think that they have a lot of money. So that's not. So maybe you have to keep it on. And then you have to think of your future. You have to think of savings. You have to think of investing. Um, Not to think of shopping because sometimes what I have experienced some of my colleagues in the business, if they have a lot of money, they keep on shopping, they keep on buying things which is not necessary. That's what Steve said. If you buy something which is not necessary, you have to sell the things which is important to you. So that's funny.
Well, it's pretty amazing, Peter, the story that you've got. You've got a great story. You've done an amazing job, and we're so grateful for you because of the impact that you've had on the foundation. Without Audrey and Josh, the foundation wouldn't be where it is. And so we're so grateful for you and your whole family. So congratulations on that. Want to thank Peter for being on with us, and we're going to be right back with our last